Well, hello there, and I do hope you're all well. Yes, this is going to be a couple of selection videos that I'll cut up from the cross-party select committee that will be debating our new relationship with the evil overlords of the European Union. And yes, don't worry about it. I won't be doing any of this clown because it takes hours just to ask a question. As a football fan, I will class him as the Garth Crooks of politics. Now, Garth Crooks, he was a former footballer, played full-back. Then he went into journalism, and when it comes to asking questions, he goes on long-winded monologue about asking questions. It can go up to about 5 minutes, and the poor bloke at the side of him who's looking at him thinking, "No, sorry, mate, I've no idea what the hell you're on about." So, but anyway, he will jump in on the odd times, but you will be very distracted by the plaster on the side of his head, thinking, wonder how he's managed to do that. But anyway, we'll move on. Not so clever, James Cleverly, should I say. It's also, I've written this down because I know you lot like your facts. He's got an expert with him called Julian Braithwaite, Director General for Europe at the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office. And in this excerpt, he's going to be asked a couple of questions about the command paper, and then about Article 16 by Richard Drax, Conservative MP for South Dorset. And to say you get to watch James not so cleverly obfuscate, do his level best not to answer any of these questions is priceless.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Minister, nice to see you. In July 2021, the government published the command paper Northern Ireland Protocol, The Way Forward. This set out proposals for reform of the protocol and was followed by intensive UK-EU negotiations. What progress has been made towards achieving the changes outlined in the command paper?
Now watch his first reply. You can tell quite clearly he's lying his head off. Talks about, we've made progress. Now, if somebody's made progress, they'd reel it off on the tongue, where it just goes off on a long-winded reply, which I would loosely say, I understand the words, but they all seem to be in the wrong order. Very funny.
We have made progress. I think it's important to say that we have made progress. I think the Foreign Secretary and Vice President Šefčovič enjoy a good professional working relationship. And you know, we do.
Look at her behind him. What the hell is he on about?
We do feel that Mr. Šefčovič and his team come with a desire to resolve this issue. The truth is that we have come to something of an impasse, and
no shit, Sherlock.
I don't think that's through a lack of goodwill. I think it's more through what we regard in the UK as an overly limited negotiating mandate that Mr. Šefčovič and his team have got.
In other words, they're not going to budge. They've not budged for how many years, and still keep parroting the same old notion that we're not going to budge either. And it's just hilarious watching this clown just obfuscate.
We have put forward a range of, we think, very effective and well worked through proposals for a technical way of addressing the EU's concerns about the integrity of the single market, which we believe addresses the concerns that they've raised with us. At the moment, Mr. Sefcovic hasn't been able to accept those, and as I say, I think his mandate limits him from doing so, rather than any lack of desire to get a resolution on his part. And I think, as I say, the reason I say something of an impasse is because whilst we have made progress at the moment, we're struggling to see how within the current mandate he's able to move forward. And the simple truth, and this is the point we've presented, is the situation as we now see it just is not working. It is.
If only you'd have had time to, when you got this withdrawal agreement, this world-beating withdrawal agreement, you had time to, go through it, read it, and then have a check, say, well, that might not work, this might have. Oh, that's right, you did. But you were so determined to rush it through, you decided to have a vote on it without reading it. So, what are you mourning for? This is what you voted for, idiot.
It is not doing what it was meant to do, which is to protect equally north-south and east-west trade, and that, by extension, is causing community tensions in Northern Ireland, which we regard, which we feel are.
From what I can gather, it just seems to be the DUP that are only roaring about it more than anything else. You seem to be more interested in listening to the DUP than anybody else. I wonder why.
Are problems that need to be addressed.
Could you just tell us and our millions of viewers...
Millions of viewers. Are you trying to kid Richard Drax?
Just what exactly progress has been made, bearing in mind clearly not as much progress has been made as you would like. How much, exactly what progress has been made?
We got a good resolution, for example, on medicines. And
well, that's it. I'm sold. I'm now a Brexiter, mouth frothing and all that.
And I think that demonstrates that where there is a real driver for innovation and reform, that can happen, and it has happened, and that's positive. And it's one of these things where you can nail down quite a few issues, but until you get the last one, you can't really get any of them delivered. So we're kind of hanging on a whole load of things where we could work. I think
there's a lot of and
yeah, more smoothly, more effectively, hanging on a couple of issues around the EU's concerns about the integrity of the single market. But again, it's this. I think one of the challenges is that we are now regarding this more about how we protect the Good Friday Agreement rather than a kind of a.
I think it would be a fantastic way of protecting the Good Friday Agreement. Maybe rejoin the single market and the customs union. That'll do it in a heartbeat. Just saying.
Technical trade problem, and I think that's where the gap is between our position and the EU's position.
A colleague of mine will be touching.
Oh, this is really, really funny. You can tell. James not so cleverly doesn't want to go anywhere near of answering this question. And I can't, and I understand why.
In Article 16, but just before that happens, how much longer do you think will you continue to negotiate with the EU over this?
Well, we want a negotiated settlement like that. We still regard a negotiated change to the protocol as the best way forward. And we've made it clear that is our desired outcome.
If that's not possible, for how much longer will you go on negotiating? Because this thing's dragged on now for an awful long time.
Yeah, and things. I mean, pressure is building. As I say, our broader concern. So we have a standstill
as I say, no shit, Sherlock.
Situation, which is far from perfect, and we have seen that standstill position has been driving community tensions in Northern Ireland. Our concern is that the EU's position is actually worse than the standstill position. So for us, that really is unacceptable, because the point we're making is the current standstill position, where we're not applying a number of checks that would have to come in under their proposals. That is already causing tensions. Their proposals, I think, we believe would make it worse, and we're saying it has to be better than the standstill. That's the challenge. In terms of how much longer, it really, we see these tensions building over time. The longer this goes unresolved, the more those tensions build. That is a deeply, deeply undesirable situation. The Prime Minister has made it clear that we will.
Yeah, he made it clear in Ireland, didn't he? So if anybody tells you you've got to do paperwork, send it to me and I'll just put it in the bin.
We'll need to look at ways of addressing and alleviating those community tensions. Exactly when that happens, exactly how, exactly under what circumstances, I'm not able to say, and we're discussing what that might look like. But it is something that we do recognise needs to be resolved.
Queen's speech, as I understand it, will have something of this, will it not? That will help perhaps clarify this matter once and for all.
So we're looking at a range of options about what we can do to ease these tensions. I don't want to go further than that because conversations about the best mechanism, exactly when, exactly how, are still being made.
I will stop that here because I don't want you to bear another 5 hours of William Cash and his unfeasibly large plaster on the top of his head, boring you to tears. But that was just painful watching. Didn't want to answer anything. See, that was just hilarious. Now, in a couple of videos with Anne-Marie Trevelyan making a complete prize prune of herself, I heard a couple of people say, can you imagine if that had been from somebody from another party? Do you think that would have been in the news? Oh yeah, it would. And I replied, more the point, imagine if it had been, say, Diane Abbott or Jeremy Corbyn or even Angela Rayner. Daily Mail would have been having an absolute messing their pants. They would have been absolutely going on tour. No, you won't see this. This was last week. Didn't say. It was painful watching. Didn't want to answer. Didn't want to answer about Article 16, and I can see why. Didn't want to answer about the Queen's speech, and I can see why. Why would you? Because if they knew exactly what they were doing, they'd have answered it straight away. But they have got nothing. They're just an absolute load of lying charlatans, and this Brexit conclusively proves that isn't working, is it? Right, I shall leave the video here, and until the next time, I shall bid you farewell and take care.